Today, I am proud to create him Prince of Wales. With Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the centre ground.
Elizabeth says she wants Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, to be known as Queen Consort.
King Charles just made a move that has people talking crazy right now. He basically shifted royal power in a way nobody saw coming, and somehow Catherine, Princess of Wales, ended up right in the spotlight, while Camilla, Queen Consort, was left looking completely blindsided. Reports say Catherine just got handed influence that feels way bigger than her title. And what really got people raising eyebrows is that Camilla allegedly had one final request. And it got shut down fast. No debate, no back and forth, just a straight no. So now everyone's asking the same thing. What did Camilla want so badly, and why did King Charles III move like that? This whole situation didn't just pop up out of nowhere either. You gotta go back to 2005 to really understand why things feel so messy right now. When Charles and Camilla finally made things official, it wasn't some fairy tale moment. It was more like damage control. The agreement back then was clear. She wasn't supposed to be queen at all. The plan was Princess Consort, and that wasn't about humility, it was about survival. The public was still riding hard for Princess Diana, and let's be real, her presence was still louder than anything happening in that palace. That Princess Consort promise didn't last, though. Not even close. The moment things shifted in 2022 after Queen Elizabeth passed, everything changed fast. Charles stepped into the throne, and suddenly Camilla was right there beside him as Queen Consort, like that old deal never existed. It felt like the palace just flipped the script overnight and expected everyone to go along with it. A lot of people saw it as a straight-up switch-up, like rewriting history to make things look cleaner than they really were. Even with that crown sitting on her head, insiders have been hinting that Camilla's position wasn't as solid as it looked. Behind those palace walls, it's been said she wasn't always included in the real conversations, the kind that actually shape the future. Big decisions about the monarchy, long-term plans, even major public moves. Somehow those didn't always land on her desk. It's like she had the title, but not the full control that usually comes with it. And that kind of gap doesn't stay hidden forever. And then there's her dynamic with Catherine, which on the surface always looked calm and respectful, but behind the scenes, totally different energy. These two weren't best friends, not even close. Every public moment felt polite, controlled, almost scripted, like two people doing their job for the cameras and nothing more. No real connection, no natural bond, just that formal royal distance that never quite disappears. Once the cameras cut, it was back to separate lanes, separate circles, separate influence. But while all that quiet tension was sitting in the background, something major was building. And most people didn't even notice at first. Catherine wasn't just playing the role people expected. She wasn't just showing up, smiling, and keeping things surface level. She was moving differently, building respect in rooms that actually matter. While the spotlight was stuck on drama involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Catherine was quietly leveling up in a way that hit way harder long-term. Her early childhood work? That wasn't just for headlines. She stepped into real conversations, bringing in experts, talking science, getting into topics most royals don't even touch. This wasn't about appearances anymore. This was about influence. She made herself relevant in spaces where being royal isn't enough. You actually have to bring something to the table, and people started noticing that shift fast. Then came 2024, and everything changed on a whole different level. When news broke about Catherine's health battle, it didn't feel like a typical royal announcement. The public reaction was intense, emotional, and real in a way that hasn't been seen in years. People weren't just watching. They were connecting, showing up, supporting her without being told to. That kind of response? You can't fake that. The way she handled it made an even bigger impact. She stayed calm, controlled the narrative, protected her family, and moved with a level of composure that hit different. Inside the palace, that didn't go unnoticed at all. Especially with King Charles dealing with his own health situation at the same time, it forced some serious reflection about the future of the monarchy. At that point, the real question wasn't about titles anymore. It was about trust, strength, and who could actually carry things forward when it matters most. And from what insiders are saying, the answer started becoming clear. Real quick. Catherine wasn't just part of the system anymore. She was becoming a central figure in it. Meanwhile, Camilla reportedly started picking up on the shift. Not through one big moment or confrontation, but through small changes that added up fast. Fewer people checking in, fewer major conversations coming her way, and slowly, the attention started moving elsewhere. That kind of shift doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It just happens, and by the time you notice it, things already feel different. And now, with reports saying her final request got denied without hesitation, it's got people wondering if that quiet shift just turned into something way more serious. Because in a place like the royal family, power isn't always about what you wear. It's about who people listen to when decisions actually get made. And right now, all signs are pointing in one direction. And it's not the one Camilla probably expected at all. But while Camilla, Queen Consort, was still trying to hold her position and act like everything was under control, the palace itself was already moving in a totally different direction. And not quietly either. This wasn't some small adjustment behind the scenes. This felt like the early stages of a full power shift. People started asking the obvious question. If everything keeps getting pulled away from her piece by piece, is this the beginning of a complete transfer of influence? By spring 2025, those whispers turned into full-blown headlines. Major outlets began reporting that King Charles III was actively shifting responsibility away from Camilla and placing it into the hands of Catherine, Princess of Wales. And this wasn't about giving her a few extra appearances or adding some soft duties. This was serious. We're talking about core responsibilities, real influence, the kind of authority that actually shapes how the monarchy operates. Royal watchers, the ones who study this stuff for a living, started raising eyebrows fast. Because this didn't look temporary at all. It looked permanent. The kind of move that quietly changes everything without needing a big announcement. It was like the entire structure was being rearranged, and somehow Camilla's role was being pushed further away from the center, while Catherine's kept getting stronger. And the real blow? It came through the patronages. Now to regular people, that might sound like small stuff. But inside the royal system, that's everything. Those projects are influence, visibility, and legacy all wrapped into one. And reports were saying that some of Camilla's most important patronages, especially in areas like literacy, healthcare, and the arts, were being reassigned straight to Catherine, just like that. These weren't random roles either. These were projects Camilla had spent years building up, putting her name behind, growing her presence through. Losing them wasn't just a scheduling change. It felt like her entire body of work was being slowly erased, like the palace hit reset and handed the keys over to someone else without warning. But it didn't stop there. Because beyond the public-facing roles, something even bigger was happening behind closed doors. Catherine, who used to be kept at a respectful distance from the king's inner advisory circle, was now reportedly being brought directly into those conversations. The same rooms that were once reserved strictly for Charles and Camilla were now opening up, and only in one direction. Suddenly, Catherine wasn't just part of the future. She was being treated like part of the present power structure. And that shift? Everyone who understands royal dynamics saw exactly what it meant. This wasn't about preparing her for later. This was about positioning her right now. Of course, none of this came with an official statement. That's not how the palace works. There are no press conferences explaining power moves, no announcements saying, "Hey, we just changed everything." Instead, they communicate through actions. Quiet moves, subtle changes, patterns that only become clear when you step back and look at the full picture. And according to insiders, that picture was getting harder and harder to ignore. The signs weren't random. They were consistent, strategic, and all pointing in the same direction. And while all of this was unfolding, Camilla was watching closely. Now here's where things took a sharp turn, because eventually, that quiet observation turned into action. According to Angela Levin, Camilla reached a breaking point and decided she needed guarantees, not promises, not reassurances, actual written protection. She reportedly asked for official confirmation that her role, her status, and her responsibilities wouldn't be touched moving forward. That wasn't a small ask. That was a serious move. It was basically saying, lock this in so nobody can shift things around me later. In royal terms, that's huge. It's like asking the system to freeze in place while everything else is changing. But when she made that request, the response came back cold. No drama, no shouting, just a firm and professional rejection. The message was simple. The monarchy needs flexibility. Which, let's be honest, sounds polite, but really means they don't want to be tied down when it comes to power decisions. The explanation they gave? That putting things in writing would limit their ability to adapt to public opinion and future needs. Basically saying, things might need to change, and they want the freedom to make those changes without legal obstacles. And just like that, Her request was shut down. No negotiation, no compromise, just a clear signal that nothing is guaranteed. The message underneath it all felt even louder. Titles can stay, appearances can stay, but real authority? That can shift at any time. People close to Camilla say she didn't explode or create a scene, but that doesn't mean she took it lightly. Instead, she went quiet, and not in a peaceful way. The kind of silence that feels heavy, controlled, and honestly a little dangerous. No public reactions, no dramatic leaks, just a complete pullback. And inside the palace, that silence didn't go unnoticed. Because when someone in that position stops engaging, it says a lot more than words ever could. Meanwhile, Charles wasn't slowing down at all, because from his perspective, this isn't personal, it's strategic. Since taking the throne, he's been pushing for a slimmed-down monarchy. Fewer people, more efficiency, and a tighter group that can actually keep up with modern expectations. This isn't just talk either. It's already happening. Roles are being refined, responsibilities are being reassigned, and the focus is getting sharper. And when you look at who's at the center of that vision, it becomes very clear. It's not about him and Camilla anymore. It's about the future. And in his mind, that future is being built around Prince William and Catherine. They're seen as the ones who can actually carry this whole thing forward, connect with the public, and keep the institution relevant in a completely different era. According to that logic, they're not just the next in line. They're the safest bet. The balance between tradition and modern image, stability and relatability. And when decisions start being made based on that thinking, it changes everything. Because if the monarchy is being rebuilt around them, then anyone outside that core circle naturally starts drifting further away from real influence, no matter what title they hold. Old enough to command respect, young enough to still feel in touch, and popular enough that people actually care. That's the position Catherine, Princess of Wales, has stepped into, and it's not by accident. According to major outlets like The Guardian and The Times, King Charles III isn't just standing back and watching this happen, he's actively guiding it. Reports say he's reviewing her speeches, opening doors that usually take years to unlock, and positioning her like she's already stepping into something bigger. This isn't normal royal support. This feels strategic, almost like a CEO grooming a successor, putting all the energy into the one person who can actually keep things running when everything else starts shaking. He's not just helping her, he's investing in her like the future depends on it. Because honestly, it probably does. Now on the flip side, Camilla, Queen Consort, doesn't fit into that vision as cleanly, and that's where things start getting uncomfortable. Nobody's saying she hasn't worked for her position. She absolutely has. Turning public opinion around after years of criticism is not easy at all. That kind of resilience deserves recognition, no question. But at the same time, her past, her connection to the whole Princess Diana era, and the complicated feelings that still exist around that story, they haven't disappeared. And when you're thinking long-term, when you're planning decades ahead, those things start to matter more than people want to admit. So from what insiders are hinting at, Charles may be looking at Camilla as part of the present, not the future. Someone respected, someone established, but not the face of what comes next. And that realization, it puts her in a position where she's watching influence slowly slip away, with no clear way to stop it. And here's where things get deeper. Because this isn't just about strategy or public image. There's something way more personal sitting underneath all of this. Something that never really left the palace in the first place. You can't tell this story without acknowledging what happened back in August 1997 during the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. Even after all these years, her impact hasn't faded. It's not just history. It's still influencing how people feel, how they react, and who they trust inside that royal system. Diana isn't just remembered. She's still part of the structure in a way that's hard to explain but impossible to ignore. It's like the foundation of the whole institution was shaped by what happened to her. And every decision since then has been reacting to that. And here's the twist. The very thing the palace tried to move past for decades is now quietly shaping its future again. When Catherine's health situation became public in early 2024, the reaction was overwhelming. People didn't just notice. They felt it deeply. The emotional response reminded a lot of observers of the global reaction after Diana's passing. And that kind of comparison doesn't just happen randomly. This wasn't manufactured. It wasn't pushed by PR teams. It came naturally. People connected with Catherine because she spent years appearing genuine, steady, and relatable in a system that often feels distant. She didn't try too hard, and that's exactly why people believed her. So when she faced something serious, the public didn't hesitate. They showed up emotionally, loudly, and honestly. That kind of connection is rare, and once it exists, it changes everything. Now compare that to Camilla's position. She can attend every event, support every cause, and represent the role exactly how it's expected. But the emotional connection just isn't the same. It's more reserved, more polite, more distant. And that difference? It matters more than anything when it comes to long-term relevance. You can't manufacture that kind of public attachment. No strategy, no branding, no carefully planned image can replace genuine connection. And deep down, even Charles seems to understand that. Writers like Tina Brown have pointed out that the royal family has never fully moved on from the 90s. Every move they make still carries echoes of what happened back then. It's like the institution is constantly trying to avoid repeating the same mistakes, while also trying to fix what can't really be undone. And then Catherine steps into the picture, not trying to replace Diana, not copying anything directly, but naturally carrying a similar presence that people respond to. That same sense of authenticity, that same feeling that she's real, approachable, and grounded. It's not planned, but it's powerful. And that's what makes this whole situation so complicated. Because now, without even trying, Catherine represents something the monarchy desperately needs, while Camilla represents something the public never fully accepted. So as time goes on, that contrast becomes harder to ignore. The truth is, this isn't about anyone in the palace actively trying to push Camilla aside. It's about public perception, and the fact that people never fully let go of how they felt in the first place. Those expectations, those emotions, they've been sitting there for decades, waiting for someone to come along who fits what people want to see. And now that person exists. And because of that, Camilla ends up standing in a shadow that isn't really hers, but still affects everything around her. Meanwhile, Catherine rises, not because she's chasing power, but because her presence naturally fills a gap that's been there for years. So now the big question becomes, what happens next? Because when you really look at it, this situation is complicated on every level. You've got Camilla, who spent decades dealing with public criticism, pushing through negativity, and finally reaching a position that once seemed impossible, only to find that the power attached to it might not be as strong as it looks. You've got Catherine, who didn't ask for any of this pressure, just trying to balance family, health, and responsibility, while being pulled further into the center of everything. And then you've got Charles, making decisions that affect both of them while dealing with his own challenges, trying to secure the future of an institution that's constantly under scrutiny. It's not simple, it's layered, emotional, and strategic all at once. Historically, this kind of shift isn't new at all. The monarchy has done this before, many times, keeping titles in place while quietly adjusting who actually holds influence, letting someone appear powerful while the real decisions happen somewhere else. And in this case, it looks like that same pattern is playing out again. Camilla isn't being removed, she isn't being publicly criticized. She's just being repositioned in a way that changes everything without saying it out loud. And at the same time, Catherine is being elevated in ways that signal where things are heading next. This isn't just a routine adjustment. It's a clear indication of direction. Because at the end of the day, the monarchy depends on public support. And when you look at polls, reactions, and general perception, it's obvious who the public connects with the most. And Charles seems to be making decisions based on that reality, even if those decisions are difficult on a personal level. Because when you strip everything down, this isn't just about family dynamics. It's about survival. The monarchy has lasted this long by adapting, quietly shifting, adjusting, and evolving without making it obvious. And right now, it's doing exactly that again. But this time, the shift is louder, more visible, and harder to ignore. And while it might make sense strategically, on a human level, it's complicated. Because behind all the titles, roles, and public appearances, these are still real people dealing with real emotions. Camilla's journey hasn't been easy, far from it. And reaching this point only to feel like things are changing again, that's not something you just brush off. At the same time, the institution has to think long-term. And sometimes that means making decisions that aren't easy for everyone involved. Was this the right move to secure the future of the monarchy? Or does it cross a line into something that feels a little too close to betrayal?